welcome to the Money Tree, season number 2. I'm David Holt.
And I'm David Marks.
And we're so excited that we're at a second season.
We
Who ever
are.
thought that?
I never would have believed that we would have been in the second season and coming into 2 seasons when we first started this. Because I thought, how in the world are we going to come up with 10 episodes to film? And, 20 last year, and we're already rolling into the second year, so
2.1.
2.1, and of course we'll have more to go. Of course, always, guys, we're so thankful that you send us your questions, that you participate in what we do. David and I, of course, couldn't do it with the helpful staff. Without the helpful staff here at Mountain Valley News, they do a wonderful job.
Let's don't brag on our camera guy too much, but the overall staff is wonderful, yes.
Right. I do believe that they all work very hard. Of course, Farmers Television also does a great job of trying to get that together. Those folks over there do too. Of course, now we also have a
WVSN,
Right.
AM 1500 in Rainsville, 103.1 FM Rejoice. We appreciate Mark, Kay, Annie Ruth, and all the folks over at WVSN for playing the audio portion. And as David said, someone usually when in a random place will come up to me about the show.
I think you had that happen to you not long ago, right?
At a ball game. Someone came up and was talking about the show and had used the Robinhood app and was talking about the thing where you put the extra change, it rounds it up and sticks it into your
Stash or Acorns. They're both
and was going to sign up and do that. And so it's really neat that you guys are listening. Actually, he heard it on WVSM. And he started listening there rather than seeing it on television or on Facebook. So
it might have been more appealing just to hear us, not to see us. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Probably so. But however you watch or listen to the show, or you go to the
Facebook page, website,
Facebook web page, whatever, tons of tools and things you can use, and hopefully are helpful to you as you learn to get a handle on your finances rather than your finances having a handle on you.
Right. It's always better to be in control of those things, not letting them control you in the daily life you have. Speaking of the Robinhood app, we've kind of changed our direction. We're not going to do the weekly stock picks or the whatever, episode stock picks as much. I do want to throw something out there to our viewers, though. This is just a little cheater, and it's actually down today. It's at a good price. There's a company called Sorrento Therapeutics. SRNE is their symbol. Anyone that I have advised on looking at buying stocks, I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm just saying this may be one you want to look at. They have a medicine that's coming out in February, and if it gets the FDA approval, they're looking at their target price range being $17 a share. Right now, it's about $4.40 something.
Wow.
I actually bought into it when it was in the $2 range, and so I had bought and sold, and I'm still holding a little now, and I will buy more before February because it's the end of February, 1st of March. So if you're using Robinhood, we hope that you're taking advantage of that. Of course, even if you just want to invest $5 into a stock, there's stocks out there you can do that. Just be very careful because you can buy into a company that, of course, you can lose your money on.
Well, and as I shared with this gentleman at the ball game the other night, David always says, don't go buy a lottery ticket because you're not going to get a return off of that. And just recently, both the Powerball and the Mega Millions had a one-ticket winner, one from New Hampshire and one from Tampa. And so that's nowhere near to where we are.
Right, and there's multiple states. Now, of course, if you won the $550 million, I think that if I were to win that, I would probably pay for y'all's dinner tonight.
Wow.
I think that I could probably splurge
What
for
a
that.
nice gesture.
We could
from
do
my
Little
nephew
Caesars
there.
or McDonald's, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. But anyway, I have a money fact for us. Can I give that? Is that okay?
You can,
I didn't mean to bang on the table.
You may bang on the table. You can share your money fact. But I just do want to say this.
Sure.
The stock market just recently had a huge gain.
Yes.
Highest it's
Ever been. Ever been.
Okay, I thought I saw that right on the news.
We have seen, and it's really been, for those of you who may be into, like me, buying penny stocks, and that's where you've tried to make your money, it hasn't been the greatest market for penny stocks because really you see more growth in that when the stock market may not be doing as great. I've seen bigger gains in that. The stocks that are really performing well now are the bigger stocks, the mega caps and the large cap stocks. For example, I never thought I would see Amazon go over $1,200 a share, but it is today. So, the mega cap stocks are the ones that are really performing well, and that's the ones that most people are buying into and selling right now. So that's where you see in time, though, we could see some adjustment there. But hey, you know what? The American economy is growing. We just have a new tax plan that's been put in place, and actually, episode number 2 is going to cover that for everyone. We're going to
Good.
talk about how that affects everyone and how that affects you in 2018. My quick little money fact I want to give you is something that I think probably affects all of us, especially in the DeKalb, Jackson, Cherokee, whoever may be watching, even online area, is Americans spend $117 with a billion dollars annually on fast food. Fast food.
That's not typical regular eating out. That's just
That
the
is
fast food driving
eating.
through line.
Drive through or run in and get it to go. So anytime you think that, you wonder how does McDonald's or Hardee's or Jack's or any of those companies like that, how do they have the money to compete and advertise like they do? It's because we're feeding their piggy bank pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think there's a change in that? Do you think people eat more fast food now compared to when you were?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I
People
didn't
have
throw
a-
age out there, and he said yes. So
Because, well, number one, there's more of them.
right.
Number two, the lifestyles are so much busier today, even though we've got all the technology that we didn't have before. Life is at such a faster pace, and both men and women are working. They're tired when they get off work. They want to feed their family as quickly and economically as possible. And so a lot of times they'll just go through a drive-through rather than cook.
Right, and do you think probably also that, with the fast-paced life we have and the convenience of it, that, down the road we might start to see health issues from that?
Definitely.
I do
Definitely.
too. Cardiovascular disease is something that runs in my family. Of course, Dave and I are related through he married my aunt. But I think that's something that we really have to pay attention to. So, millennial mom and dads out there, it's great. I love chicken nuggets, and hey, I love to have some Chick-fil-A. That's good stuff. But be careful. Make sure that you balance that out with healthy foods.
Whole Foods, my daughter-in-law would say.
Okay.
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods.
Healthy and
Okay.
Whole Foods.
All right.
Now, if you want to go down that route, see, I'm a proponent of the old ways. The whole milk, the
Cook at
butter.
home. Well, now I like butter. Everything's
there's
better with butter.
True. I'm just saying, I'd always heard, and I haven't researched it, so I could be wrong. But the
Okay.
stuff that you put in to take the bad stuff out is usually more harmful to your body than stuff in moderation.
They found that to be with aspartame and sugar, that aspartame was probably more dangerous. Speaking of that, I'm going to give you a quick health tip. Can I give a quick health tip?
You can.
Lettuce, bacteria can live on lettuce. That's why I'm a proponent for fried foods, because you put stuff in hot grease at 350 degrees, it's pretty much going to kill
It's
anything.
going to kill
So,
anything.
a little humor there for you. All right, Dave. Do you have the woes of Christmas debt?
I do
We've
not.
just come out of that.
I do not. My
Okay,
wife
that's
did very well. We did very well on our purchases. Kept it reined in. We did what we could afford. We didn't put a lot of stuff on credit cards. So
That's
I'm
very
very
smart.
thankful.
That's very smart. And actually, David and I and my fiance and my Aunt Vicky went and ate, 2 weeks ago maybe, in Chattanooga. And of course, we were having conversations about the spending and things like that. Money comes up when I'm around a lot of times. And David gave a great tip for Christmas spending for next year. And I want to give you just a moment to give that tip, because I was very impressed that you had done your research. And
I just said put money away each week, like in a Christmas club account. If you don't want to start a savings account, you can do it in some type of your own savings. That's one. The other one was, sorry, I had a senior moment there. The best thing to do is to buy a gift card once a month. $50, $75, $100, whatever you want to afford, and save those gift cards in your safe deposit box. And then when you're ready to do Christmas shopping, you pull out all those gift cards and just use that.
and you're ready to go. So you could either buy the gift cards for the people you'll buy them for, or if there's stores you'll be shopping at, buy those gift cards then, and you'll have them to spend later on. So I
So
think
you're
both
paying for
plans.
Christmas all along rather than...
But you're doing it in increments, which is a lot lighter blow than having to do it. Because if we're going to try to save $25 compared to spending, having $600 later on, which one's easier to accommodate, use and spend? Things
And
like
also,
that.
lots of times gift cards, you give them away and people don't use all the money that's
They
on
don't.
them. That's a lot of money that company gets to keep because you're not spending the stuff on your gift card.
Right.
So always keep up with your gift card and use it and get all the money off of it.
My best advice, though, is if you get the gift cards, put them in a safe place. because people tend to throw those away sometimes.
And not think, where did I put that?
Yeah.
Kind of like your car keys?
Yeah, kind of like car keys. Put them in a safe place. So how much do you think the average American spends at Christmas?
Oh my heavens. I really don't have an idea. You know, if we were like our camera guy, it would be millions.
Millions and millions. Well, let's go ahead and look at our very first slide if we can do that.
All right, first slide.
Looking at our first slide, we can see that the average American spends $660. Now, total for the American economy, that's $158 billion that's roughly spent. Now, of course, this is an average. Some people will spend a lot more than that. Some will spend a lot less than that. But $660 is a pretty good whack.
It's a chunk of change.
You know, that's some money when you're looking at that. Which goes back to, if you say, well, I'm going to set a budget of $600 next Christmas, you can go ahead and start buying those $50 gift cards. And you've got those. Just to give you some quick facts on that, still looking at our slide, we can see that total millennials that spent their budget are about 50%. So millennials do about half and half. For every two, one of them is going to stay on budget. Baby boomers, however, are at 43%. So we can see where there's a trend where millennials, younger people, typically don't stay on budget as much as their parents might. And, you know, that's...
Don't you think that comes with wisdom, with age?
Probably so. Probably so. Now, and I gave you that quote. I said that wrong. Baby boomers actually spend more money. They stay off budget more than the millennials. I think I said it the other way. Okay, I'm sorry. So let me back that up. Millennials are doing a better job of staying on budget, better than their parents are. But there's factors that are involved in that. So
Well, go ahead.
it's easier for millennials to stay on budget, and here's some of the factors. Okay, are you ready for this? While millennials do a better job, baby boomers are feeding the millennials. Still.
Really?
Yes. They're still feeding a lot of the millennials, whether it be at their home for Christmas or whether it be because the millennials are still living at their house. So that helps. You know, if I'm not paying for my groceries, of course, I have more money to stay on budget with. Generation X, which may be the generation that I would fall into, they're the highest overspenders, and 32% stay on budget. So they
Well, that would
way
not be
overspend.
you, that's for sure, because
No.
you are a very frugal with your pennies.
I am. So breaking it down, if we can, which generation uses borrowing to do holiday shopping?
I would say baby boomers.
Okay, that's good. If we can look at our second slide.
Okay.
Don't you see how we have these nice graphics?
I
looking through
like
up
the
there?
graphics you throw up there.
Baby boomers, 63%. Generation X, 58%. And millennials, 40%. So look at that. Looking at it by generations, baby boomers are the ones who are going to borrow money. Now, what do you think I mean by borrow money?
Credit cards.
Credit cards. They will use credit cards more likely to spend for Christmas. And I think some of that may go back to the mentality of they have higher debt loads still. Okay, because, you know, if we look at a life plan of finances, you know, we do 30-year mortgages for a reason. I had a hard time getting that word out. We do 30-year mortgages because how long would you typically think about working in a career?
30 years.
30 years. So by the time you pay off your house, you're coming out of your career and getting ready to retire, so you eliminate that debt load. All that being said, now we're seeing a generation coming along, which would have been the baby boomers, who they're not out of debt with their home. They're not quite where they need to be in retirement. They're still working past that 30-year window, or they're still paying on their home, whatever it may be. So they're still digging into their pockets a little bit to buy Christmas, things like that. And I'll say this, I think that my parents' generation gave us more than their parents' generation probably gave them. And definitely, I know my mama, when she was alive, talked about how they would get a piece of fruit or they would get some candy for Christmas. And you think about a piece of candy or a piece of fruit compared to clothing and a drone and a new iPhone that's $800. You know, so there's definitely a lot of overspending at Christmas, probably by the baby boomer generation, because they're trying to give bigger gifts. What do you think would be the biggest gift on average that you might, and I'm not saying specifically, that you might give your children compared to what you would get?
Oh my goodness. I don't know the biggest gift. I just know our thing has always been to provide more for them than we received. So I think that's from my mother to mine, and I'm not sure about my children. However, I will say that they all, well, 3 of the 5 went and spent their money to find after Christmas shopping savings, which they're very happy with. You know, they really enjoyed the financial gifts they got, and they were able to spend those, or couldn't wait to spend them.
Right, and that's something that I do think that my generation is trying to do a little bit better at, is they like to find the best deal, which a lot of that has to do with e-commerce.
And a lot of it's online shopping, which is
It is.
I find very unique. There's always a package coming in that my daughter's ordered, or my son or my daughter-in-law's like, I ordered that, I ordered this, and I'm like, that's just so out of what I do. I very seldom order anything online, which I'm sure you do.
I do.
But I don't. So I think that's an age thing.
Well, and I will add another, throw another scenario into this, or another layer to this. That's a better word there. Financial layer to this. Baby boomers are not only buying for their children, they're also buying for their grandchildren now. So that baby boomer generation has grandchildren, and I know grandparents, while they might like to give their kids better than they had, they really like to give their grandkids better than they had. So when it comes to opening up the wallet and opening it up and getting the plastic out, they will drop some change on their grandchildren. That's just what they like to do. So
Our camera guy's getting Pentecostal. He's
he
raising
is.
both hands.
I think
back
he
there.
was. He almost shouted. I was just
I
waiting.
think there
for
was
that.
a trip out of the country with the whole family,
There
so
you
I
go.
bet there was. We need to bring him on and ask some specific questions, and maybe look
Maybe.
at his credit card bank statement, and then just we'd know whether he's learning from what he's been hearing.
Right, I think so, and I think he has. You know, I know that he's using the Robinhood app and he's making good. So maybe the money he made from his stock purchases, he took the trip with.
I know he's always jotting down when you start talking about stocks. His ears perk up like a little prairie dog, like "Hello, I'm tuning in," and he's writing down.
Well, and there's been a couple I've been afraid he would throw something at me over, so that happens too. All that being said, you know, when Christmas time comes, we want to give gifts. You know, it's just something in us, especially in this area, I'll say the Southeast, that we love to give gifts. We want to do that. It brings joy to us, and it's really brings us joy to give gifts more than to receive. You know, you'll meet very few people who would rather get than they would give. So I think that all that being said, Christmas time is a wonderful time of year, but it puts us in a financial crunch.
Well, and you know, personally speaking, you know, there was from our family personally, there was a transmission issue on my vehicle that had to be repaired, over $1,000. Then there's a abscess tooth, which is a root canal. Then you have a crown on top of that,
There's another $1,000.
and so you've got another chunk of change that came out of the reserve Christmas budget.
Right.
So therefore, it wasn't as much as we would have liked to provided, but you know, we've been learning, putting money aside, squirreling it away, being frugal, I should say,
frugal.
to do things more in a wiser way, to
and
manage our money more wisely.
When we had our family Christmas, you know, I know that we had that on our side of the family at your house. So when we did that, we also ate. And that is, you know, and I know this is nitpicky, I know, but this is where you can call me cheap, and I'm okay with that. But when people are at your house, you have the expense of those people being at your house, whether it be through the utilities, and, you know, I know that's minimal, and water usage, that's minimal, but you also provide them with food, and with time, and with effort, and with decorating, and things like that. So that's where the baby boomer generation is still taking a lot of the blow for their children and their grandchildren. That's why their expenses are higher. So let's say
so it's like when you go out to eat, that's why Dad gets the bill.
right.
Okay. Well,
Right.
you're going to have kids one day and a family, so you can get the bill then.
And I will understand that then. I think I'll say, you know what, that was a great steak. I'm glad you ate it, son, but let's go cut the grass. Now, back to our point, what we really want to discuss today is how do we eliminate that debt? How do we get back on the track and back on budget after Christmas spending and Christmas debt?
Well, you got to cut back. That's for one thing.
That is. So what we have done is we have broken this down into 5 tips to help you get back on track. If we can, let's go ahead and look at slide number 3.
Now, I'm telling you, on this slide, that is a cool conductor.
That is a cool conductor. And there he is.
Love my hat.
He is the engineer ready to engineer your budget back on track.
Be
right?
careful what happens with Photoshop.
Yes. Be careful who you let design your slides. That's
Yeah,
what I should
there you
say.
go. There
And
you
if
go.
they paid attention to our Money Tree page during Christmas, I had a very fun Christmas graphic that I threw up there for Christmas from the Money Tree guys
Yeah,
there. So.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Looking at our slide, number one, the first thing I would say is rearrange your budget. Rearrange your
Modify.
budget. Modify, rearrange. Look at areas where you haven't maxed out your monthly spending yet, and start applying that towards your non-essentials. Let's say you have entertainment or restaurants or clothing, eating out, that 160, 117 billion, whatever it is. Rearrange these into categories and try to even that out. So basically, this is a taken from Paul to pay Peter kind of scenario, but it's a method that can work because you have spent more in one area than you typically do another.
Do you think that's why charitable donations go down in January?
I do. I do. I think people are trying to eliminate what they've spent.
Yeah.
The second thing, use your emergency fund. Now, what would be considered an emergency fund?
Money I've squirreled away for unexpected expenses like the transmission and the abscess tooth that I had to deal with.
So, baby boomers, if you, or Generation Xers, or even the millennials, if you have a credit card and you have put Christmas spending on that credit card, let me advise you to take money out of your savings and pay that balance off instead of letting that revolve, because every day that you keep that, you're paying them interest. So even though you might lose a little bit of interest in your savings account, you're far better off to lose a little interest in your savings and not be paying that interest on your credit card.
Yeah, because savings are what, maybe 1.5%, 2%,
If you're
if that
getting,
much.
if you're getting 1%, you're doing well. Of course, I do what's called an enhanced checking account where I bank at, and they pay 2.5%. So it's a little bit higher, but now the savings account at this same place under $10,000 is going to be like 0.6,
Yeah.
0.7.
And you're paying a whole lot more
Oh,
interest.
depending
than
on your
that.
credit score, you could be paying anywhere from 12 to 22%. So yes, definitely a smart move to, take that money out of your emergency fund, out of your savings, pay off that credit card debt. Number three is adjust your next month's spending.
In other words, you're not going to go to the movies. You're not going to eat out. You're going to eat beans and more beans and whatever's cheapest.
Well, let's be honest. We can all trim the fat, so to say, financially somewhere in our budget. If you do a monthly budget, and I recommend that you do, look at those non-essential things. Now, of course, you've got to have gasoline in your car to go to work. However, do you really need to take that trip to Birmingham every other weekend to eat at that restaurant you really like?
And you can also take your lunch rather than going out to eat.
You can, absolutely. That
Peanut
is
butter
a
and jelly.
huge money saver.
Some chips,
Yeah.
some water, you're good to go.
And back to the e-commerce bit, I will even say that it would be smart to order your products through Walmart or through Amazon or whoever you may want to use instead of having to go to those stores and buy those items. Yes, it's a 5 or 10 minute, 15 for me. It's more like a 20, 25 minute drive, but that's gasoline you can save.
And time.
And time. So, do those things that are little small things that add up to big totals. That's what you're really looking for there. That's where you make those adjustments. Don't skip on your power bill. That's kind of a necessary thing.
Need the power bill, especially as cold as it's been lately.
Yes, it's been awful, awful. Fourth thing is make a long-term plan. I tell my seniors all the time at school, you need to have a 5-year plan and you need to have a life goal. So just your finances are the same way. You need to have a monthly budget and you need to have a long-term budget. And that goes back to your long-term budget would be maybe even a 10, 20, 30-year plan. You could even have a year's plan budget. We're going to buy gift cards every month of $50 from one store or one whatever. Even if you do the Visa prepaid, they charge fees, so you might lose a little bit of your value there. But have that long-term plan that if you have that high credit card balance and you've added to that you start cutting and seeing how you can structure it to get out of that debt as soon as possible. As soon as possible.
Yeah. Well, and one part of that long-range plan could just say, okay, we've decided we're going to spend X amount of dollars for Christmas next year, and breaking that up into 11 months or possibly 12, you know how much you're going to budget for that, and you have to stick to it.
You do.
That's all we're going to spend.
And there's actually several different savings plans, but one that I would recommend if you want to try to just do an easy savings plan is do the weeks of the year savings plan. And you can do it monthly if you get paid monthly, if you get paid weekly or bi-weekly, however you'd like to do it. But you start out with, how many weeks do we have in a year?
52.
52. In the first week, you put in 52. The second week, you put in 51. And you count down so that at Christmas time next year, You're not having to dump those last 4 weeks in December, or 5 if it be. You're not dumping in a whole lot of money. You've done that on the front end in January, so you give yourself a little cushion there. You can eliminate
Man, that's
debt.
a bigger budget to buy Christmas for.
Absolutely, absolutely. That gives you paying off debt, whatever it may be, buying Christmas. It is. And the fifth thing that I feel like that's something that we have to remember: give yourself some grace.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Sometimes it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission, or maybe that's just something my dad used to tell me. But when dealing with my mom. But give yourself some grace on this. If you have racked up more debt, don't feel like that.
You're an awful person. You're just a human.
Right, you are human, and the life is over. Remember, every day is a new day, and we get a new beginning, and God is very gracious in that, thank goodness, and all the things that we do. Your finances are the same way. I know a lot of times I feel like that I'm very stern with people I talk, not stern, maybe stern, I don't know.
Hateful.
No, maybe. But I feel like, especially when dealing with my students, and I'm talking about all these college expenses and how you need to work and yada, yada, yada.
He's not very kind in his delivery. He's more preachy.
I think that's very true. Very, very true.
But I know who your dad and mom are, so.
Sure. Well, and I think it's because I do not want to see people make the same mistakes maybe I've made.
But I want to say this. That's a life lesson for all of us.
Sure.
Most people, a lesson you learn the hard way is one you won't soon forget.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't matter how many times someone tells you. Till you experience it yourself, you don't get it.
Well, it's kind of the old adage that if you're ever going to see a rainbow, you've got to stand a little rain. Well, that's true with finances too, that if you want to see the pot of gold at the end of your rainbow, how do you like that segue? That you're going to have to stand a financial storm every now and then.
Or you could be in the Blevins household, and you could always have a pot of gold.
Right, that is very true. So,
That's our camera guy, by the way.
Right. So, guys, we want you to get back on track. We definitely, I was nervous about coming back. I'll be honest with you. This has been so much fun, and time goes by so fast when we do these. Mm-hmm. But we want to help you get back on track. Next week, or the next episode, whatever it may be, we're going to discuss with you the new tax plan, the Trump tax plan, as we can call it that, and how that's going to affect you. And I have ran the numbers. I have spent a lot of time crunching these numbers. Now, I'm not a certified CPA, so they may tell you something different. It's always, of course, encouragable to talk to those people. But we have good information for you, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised.
And also, we're going to be talking about how to plan for a wedding. Somebody is getting married.
Right,
and you talk about frugalness, they are experiencing very wise decision-making when it comes to budget.
Well, David and my Aunt Vicki got to experience trying to buy the decor. Did I use that word correctly?
I think that is.
The decor for the wedding and trying to plan. And we're actually going to do an episode where we can try to help maybe with someone who's trying to do that. It's been a lot of fun. I'm more the socialite, social media. I don't care. Act goofy, do that fun stuff. My fiance, not so much. So I would say we would try to bring her on here, but I really doubt that happens.
Yeah, I doubt it too. But we do appreciate you tuning in. It's been so much fun to bring you the Money Tree. We appreciate the folks who helped us bring it to you. It's called Mountain Valley, WVSM, Farmers Telephone TV. We appreciate all those folks. And more importantly, we appreciate you guys tuning in, giving us words of encouragement.
Right.
And hopefully we're bringing you some ideas that will help you make really wise decisions with your finances.
And remember, the most important thing to know is that you cannot have financial peace without first knowing the Prince of Peace, Jesus Christ. So make sure that you know your priorities in life. Guys, moneytreetv.org. Check us out. All episodes are on there. Facebook, Twitter. We're all out there, so just find us.
And there's also things you can download to help you with your budget and other things. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.
Roll Tide.
Building your dream home is one of the great joys in life. At First Southern State Bank, we know construction and mortgage financing, putting today's low rates to work for you. As you and your family move closer to the completion of your new home, we know that your home is where memories are made and families grow stronger year after year. At First Southern State Bank in Rainsville, Scott Kirk stands ready to tailor the right construction loans to meet your needs. along with our staff of experienced loan professionals. Drop by to share your dreams with us today in Rainsville. First Southern State Bank in Rainsville. All the bank you'll ever need.
Hello folks, this is Andy White down here at Bobby Ledbetter's Twin City in Fort Payne, Alabama. I want to invite everybody to come out to our new location. We're at 1411 Glen Boulevard, right where you turn to go on Airport Road. We've got plenty of inventory for you to choose from. I got cars, trucks, vans, sport utility vehicles of any make and model. Come down here and visit us. Let us see what we can do for you. If you got some slow credit, I've got some banks that'll take care of that. We've got great financing, got a great selection of cars. Y'all come down here and see us.
Don't take the first deal that comes along when you can do better at BobbyLedbetter.com and Twin City Used Car Sales, located at 1411 Glen Boulevard in South Fort Payne.